XDefiant, the game that we've been waiting ages for, might finally have its release window solidified. It was previously rumored, but the most recent reporting seems to confirm that, so fingers crossed, no more delays or anything that deviates course. But today, I'll run down with you some of the information that you should know about and what may have led us here in the first place. So as we go along, drop your thoughts, drop a like if you enjoy and find it at all insightful, and make sure to subscribe for more XDefiant and FPS coverage here on the channel. Finally, check out my friends over at G Fuel for up to 30% off your entire order, but more on them a little later. For now, let's jump into the newest information on XDefiant and the launch window here upcoming. So, the basis of today's discussion comes from the newest earnings report from Ubisoft, in which they detailed a ton of different things. Key highlights including things like Star Wars Outlaws releasing in 2024. Super excited for that one personally as a big Star Wars fan. The new Assassin's Creed game coming by March of next year. But for this discussion here in particular, well, they released an updated Q4 release statement talking about the things coming by the end of March, so March 31st, and listed a ton of things like new seasons and content for Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, the Crew Motorfest, and oh yeah, that little thing called XDefiant Season 0 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC. So that seems to be the plan right now, at least, the end of March. And that means that we should hopefully have the game in our hands, or rather digitally on their systems, by at the latest March 31st, the end of Q4 for their fiscal year. That could be today, tomorrow, or March 31st at 11:59 p.m., assuming all things go according to plan, that is. But will it be that long? The team at XDefiant have previously mentioned that once approved, the process for submission to release could be as little as a few weeks, depending on marketing, on build-up, the lead time, and subsidiary business items to account for. It's already been said that XDefiant will have some lead-up in marketing, and they're not going to just drop it on a whim, like probably the most famous example in recent years was that of Apex Legends. One day, EA was just like, LOL, here's a new battle royale, and it just exploded off that, but that doesn't seem to be how they want to take the approach here for releasing XDefiant. That works for some, but doesn't also for others. XDefiant's team has already mentioned that they're going to be dealing with some marketing and lead-up period that you'll know when it's coming, and you'll end up having that ability to like even preload at points. So figure account for maybe like a minimum of 2 weeks for that. So we're in the middle of February almost at this point. As of today, we have 7 weeks, actually to the day, until March 31st. Now, the team has been relatively quiet. We haven't heard any official updates in just over about 2 weeks' time, so we don't know where in the developmental status they are. But with how long it's been in limbo, I kind of assume that we're going to see an announcement when it does actually happen, where they're like, hey, we got approval in submissions. The game is ready to go gold and ready to be released. So we're not going to just see that like, hey, XDefiant's coming next week or something like that. I feel like we'll have a little bit of a lead up before that even. So when we see that, I'd imagine that's the sort of marker for what kicks off and kicks everything into gear. But I mean, hey, that's really nice, I think, knowing that nearly a year now of waiting, it's finally coming to a close, or should be. I find that personally pretty nice, pretty reassuring. And I know that's probably going to be met with like some "the game's already dead" comments, or maybe even left on the video before we even get to this point. But here's my piece. You're more than welcome to feel how you want, but here's how I feel. I'm just excited to have something I enjoy playing again, and more to add to the repertoire. Between Modern Warfare 3, a couple of single-player games that I'm going in and out of, it's nice to add something more to add to that regular play sort of list. I surprisingly do really enjoy Modern Warfare 3, which is kind of a bummer that the general sentiment and interest in terms of content and metrics, selfishly at least, it's a bit of a bummer here at this, that it seems lower by comparison to like Modern Warfare 2 or what have you, but I do enjoy the game. But I think that I'm getting to that point in life where it's just like, bro, I don't care if it's considered an air quote dead game or whatever, because I'm just in it for my own enjoyment. I enjoyed all the playable tests of the game up to date. I intend to post what I enjoy as a result. So if people want to watch, that's great. And if not, that's all good too. Everybody's all entitled to their own opinions. There is no right or wrong answer. Do I think that XDefiant will make as huge a dent as it could have back in the summer of last year? Maybe not, but I absolutely do think that there's still a huge market for that classical feeling arcade shooter with no manipulative matchmaking system, and that it will be reminiscent of those good old days back from like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2 and such. I think there absolutely still can be some good fun to be had here at this, and I think that it also combines elements of other areas of arcade shooters, that it's not just a copy and paste or something like that, so I think it can be handled pretty well. I think that the openness and transparency of the dev team is absolutely also something that earns my interest, since no other AAA development has really shown that sort of A to B progress the way that XDefiant's team has done it. So there's a lot of things that I could say, but point being, if you're into it, I love that for us. If not, I get it entirely. But for me, I'm interested still in playing the game. One thing that I do kind of find fascinating though out of the recent reporting is that we seemingly had our first air quote leak in development, and behind that curtain coming from a familiar face on the channel, Tom Henderson, someone who we've talked about here on the channel a lot because of his COD leaks and things like that, but he's an industry insider with a solid track record. But he recently commented on the plan for March 31st being that sort of latest launch period, saying it's probably what is planned, but per my Ubisoft report last week, it ultimately depends on whether higher-ups want to add something last minute that breaks the current build and delays it again. So that certainly grants some perhaps maybe more perspective as to why it's been so consistent with these delays. Personally, I think that a lot of it did come down to a late summer being a delay, maybe because of these wanting to add more things in. But whenever you had that opportunity to launch right before Modern Warfare 3, personally, while there's no way to confirm or deny, I personally think that it was a way to duck that giant release of Modern Warfare 3, something that would recapture a lot of that flame that players wanted for the multiplayer experience. And so you'd kind of lose out on some of that initial launch hype and maybe initial player count because people would immediately jump to Modern Warfare 3 and what was offered there. I feel like by doing that and delaying it further, now again, you kind of start to get back into that window where people are tired of Modern Warfare 3, they're tired of COD, they're waiting for the next thing there, and this could be that thing that fills that void for them. Now, we don't know how much back and forth between, okay, we genuinely may have had a broken build of the game to maybe a sort of strategic release of a different time period, but interesting to hear that there actually was multiple instances of adding things in that did actually break the build. So anyways, coming back to it, March 31st seems to be that backstop, and if that is that solid backstop, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to posting a bunch of XDefiant content here leading up to the launch and with the launch of the game, and then beyond, covering both games, and again, maybe even more here as we get to further updates for things like the finals. There's a couple of other indie projects I want to cover with you guys that look really cool. But anyways, yeah, that's where we're at here. A little bit more of a solidified release window to look forward to now for XDefiant. So that is where we're going to call it. But before we wrap everything up, I do want to take a second to remind you that code Espresso can get you up to 30% off your entire order over at G Fuel. To me, G Fuel is my cup of coffee in the morning, gets my day and my productivity started, and I'm sure there's a flavor out there that you'd enjoy. I'd personally recommend things like Pog Juice, Starfruit, Strawberry Banana, the Morbius Nectarine flavor, and more. But whether you want to try it out for the first time with a, say, starter kit where it gives you a couple of different sample packs, plus a shaker cup, or grab a restock of a tub, maybe a few, code Espresso can net you a nice little discount if you're interested. So check the link below if you guys would like to learn more. And again, code Espresso can get up to 30% off your entire order. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below on what you think about this XDefiant release window. Do you think we're going to make target? Do you think by this time next month we might be either getting ready for XDefiant launching or maybe even have it already? Do you think that March 31st is not going to be that accurate backstop and it'll be delayed further? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things XDefiant, Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS content here on the channel. I'd love to have you. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.